Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into a fascinating piece of Taoist wisdom.
That's right. We're looking at Chapter 13, Song of Admonition to the World.
From the text, The Secret of the Golden Flower. Now, this isn't just some old dusty scroll.
Definitely not. This text is like a guidebook to spiritual cultivation and self-transformation.
And it's full of intriguing metaphors and practices that have resonated with people for centuries.
We're going to be uncovering some pretty fascinating concepts, like returning the light,
the mysterious path, the yellow cord, all sorts of things.
By the end of this deep dive, you'll have a much better grasp on the essence of Lu Dongbin's teachings.
And how they might still be relevant to us today. So, to kick things off, can you tell us a little bit about Lu Dongbin? Who was this guy?
Lu Dongbin is a legendary figure, like one of the 8 immortals in Chinese mythology.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and he was a prominent figure in Taoist internal alchemy.
Internal alchemy, what's that?
It focuses on cultivating energy within the body. And actually, the text itself blends Buddhist and Taoist thought.
Interesting.
Which was actually pretty common in Chinese spiritual traditions. Right. You see this blending a lot.
I see, yeah. Now, getting into the chapter itself, the opening lines, they're so passionate.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like Lu Dongbin shouting from the rooftops, like, I need to share this knowledge. I need to guide you toward enlightenment.
Right.
It almost feels like he's talking directly to us, urging us to pay attention.
He actually even compares his strive to the Buddha himself, who, taught the truth of life and death.
Okay.
And to Laozi, who emphasized this subtle energy of the valley spirit.
I see.
He's really positioning himself within this lineage of profound spiritual teachers, offering a path to truth.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting is that the path he lays out, it isn't about complex rituals or dogma.
Oh,
It really centers around a few key concepts.
That's interesting. And he mentions some of them, right? Like yellow center, righteous position, the mysterious path, and this practice called returning the light. I have to admit, some of this sounds a bit like a map to a hidden world. I'm really curious to understand what these ideas are all about.
Yeah, definitely. Let's start with returning the light. This is essentially training your mind to become aware of its own source. Kind of like a mirror reflecting its own light.
Yeah, okay.
Instead of being pulled outwards by all the distractions, right?
Yeah.
You're cultivating inner stillness, focusing your attention inward.
That makes a lot of sense, because it's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of everyday life and lose touch with that inner stillness. So how does returning the light actually work? Is it like meditation?
It's similar to meditation, but with a very specific focus. Lu Dongbin emphasizes breath regulation, which you see in many, many meditative traditions.
Right.
By controlling your breath, you can calm the mind, cultivate energy, and even open yourself up to spiritual awakening.
Okay, so breath control is key. What else is involved in this process?
He also talks about the mysterious paths. Now, imagine this as a gateway.
Okay.
A metaphorical gateway to deeper levels of consciousness. It's a point of transformation, a passage to a more refined state of being.
Intriguing. But how do we actually find and pass through this mysterious path? Is there like a specific technique?
It's not so much a technique as it is a shift in awareness. Remember, Lu Dongbin's speaking in the language of metaphor and symbolism.
Right.
He's describing a process of inner alchemy.
Oh, interesting.
Where you're refining and harmonizing the energies within your body.
I see.
To achieve a higher state of being.
Ah, so it's like an inner transformation, a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
Rather than like a physical location. That makes me think about the terms yellow center and righteous position. What are those all about?
Well, in Taoist internal alchemy, the yellow center actually refers to an energy center in the body, the middle dantian. It's located in the solar plexus area.
Okay.
And the righteous position is about aligning your body and mind to connect with the Tao.
So we're not just breathing into our lungs, but we're directing our breath and attention to specific energy centers within the body. This is starting to sound a bit like energy work. Or Qigong.
You're picking up on the connections. Lu Dongbin's drawing on a long tradition of practices that focus on cultivating and harmonizing the body's vital energy known as ku.
That reminds me, he mentions generating true ku and the creation of the true elixir. And he uses these really vivid images like earthquake brings rain to the mountain peaks and the yellow sprout emerges from the soil to describe these processes.
Powerful metaphors, aren't they?
Yeah. It's like he's describing an internal alchemy experiment.
Exactly. He's talking about harnessing and refining your inner energies to achieve a higher state of being.
It's starting to sound a bit like a superhero origin story, but I have to ask, are there any potential pitfalls on this path? Anything we should avoid doing?
That's a great question. Lu Dongbin actually includes a cautionary tale
Hmm.
about Confucius and his student, Yan Hui. They were on Mount Tai, and Yan Hui, who was fascinated by a distant white horse, strained his eyes so intently that he actually lost his divine light, and this ultimately led to his early death.
Wow, that's a sobering reminder that even on the spiritual path, balance is key. It's so easy to get carried away and overdo things, especially when we're eager for results. So it's not just about effort, it's about cultivating a sense of ease and moderation in our practice.
Exactly. It's a reminder to approach spiritual cultivation with patience and balance, avoiding forceful or excessive methods. Lu Dongbin really encourages a gradual and steady approach.
So breath control, cultivating energy, spiritual transformation, it's quite a process. But how do we actually put returning the light into practice? Is there a step-by-step guide?
Well, he lays out a pretty clear path. It starts with stillness of heart and steadiness of breath. From there, thoughts begin to disappear. Breath condenses, the elixir forms, and ultimately, enlightenment is achieved by seeing one's true nature.
That's quite a journey. But did Lu Dongbin leave any, specific instructions for his students? Like a cheat sheet for spiritual growth?
He did. He composed 2 verses for his student, Zhangzhenu, that really capture the essence of his teachings.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's hear these nuggets of ancient wisdom.
All right, the first verse goes like this. The Tao has no craft, merely straightforward effort. At midnight and before noon, stabilize your breath in meditation. Gaze through the Kunlun Pass, with the spine as your guide. When strength arises, reflect upon me.
Straightforward effort. I like that. No fancy tricks, just dedicated practice. But what's this Kunlun Pass he's talking about? Is that like another metaphorical gateway?
It actually refers to both a specific point in the body, related to the spine, and the grand path leading to the Jade Capital, which represents a higher spiritual realm. Remember, these texts are layered with symbolism and meaning. He's guiding his student towards a very specific type of meditation practice.
I'm sensing there's a lot more to unpack here. This is definitely more than just a casual read. What about the second verse? What wisdom does that one hold?
Okay, here it is. Kan and Li, Zen and Dewey, divide midnight and noon. Recognize your true ancestry within yourself. Earthquake brings rain to the mountain peaks. Cleansing reveals the yellow sprout emerging from the soil. Capture the golden essence and seal it firmly. In refining Jia and Jing, dragons and tigers are born. If someone asks who taught you, say only, my teacher's surname is Lu.
Wow, that one's even more complex. Can you break it down for us? What are these Conleys and Dewey things? And what's with the dragons and tigers?
He's using the language of the I Ching,
Yep.
which is the system of divination and philosophy
Right.
that uses trigrams to represent different aspects of reality and the interplay of energies. Each trigram has a specific meaning, and their combinations can create really complex interpretations. For example, Kan, associated with water, represents the receptive yin principle, while Li, associated with fire, embodies the active yang principle. He's explaining how these energies interact during spiritual cultivation. The images of dragons and tigers symbolize powerful forces within us that are awakened through this process.
So even though the language is cryptic, he's essentially saying that by mastering these internal energies, we can unlock our hidden potential.
Exactly. And notice how the verse ends. Students are told to attribute their teachings to Mr. Lu. This highlights the importance of lineage and respecting the source of wisdom.
It's like saying, don't forget where you learned this and honor the tradition. I'm starting to appreciate the depth and complexity of this chapter, even though it's a lot to take in. It feels like every line is packed with meaning. What are some of the key takeaways you're getting from all this?
Well, it's clear that Lu Dongbin is emphasizing direct experience over intellectual understanding. It's not just about reading these words. It's about embodying the practices.
Right. It's one thing to talk about returning the light. It's another thing to actually do it.
Absolutely. He also highlights the interconnectedness of mind, breath, and energy. By working with these aspects of ourselves, we can cultivate inner harmony and access these profound states of awareness. And finally, there's this emphasis on gradual cultivation, avoiding extremes, respecting the process.
It's like he's saying, take your time, be patient, and trust the journey, which in our fast-paced world is a pretty radical idea. I'm already feeling inspired to explore these practices and see how they can apply to my own life. What about you? What stands out to you?
What strikes me is the emphasis on recognizing our true ancestry within ourselves. It's a reminder that the potential for enlightenment isn't something we need to search for outside of ourselves.
Right.
It's already present within us. It's just a matter of recognizing it.
I love that. It's like we're all descendants of the divine, carrying this spark of something greater within us.
Exactly. And these practices, this journey of self-cultivation, they're all about fanning that spark into a flame.
It's not about becoming someone else, but uncovering and revealing who we truly are. It's about embracing our own inner divinity.
You put it beautifully. That's the heart of what Lu Dongbin is trying to convey.
This has been an incredibly inspiring conversation. I'm feeling a renewed sense of possibility and a deeper understanding of my own potential. But Lu Dongbin also mentioned something called the yellow court. What's that all about?
Ah, yes. That's where things get really interesting. The yellow court is, you could say, also known as the middle dantian in Taoist internal alchemy.
Okay.
And it's a key energy center located in the solar plexus area.
Okay, so not like an actual court with like judges and juries.
No.
But an energy center.
That's right. An energy center.
Gotcha. I've heard about the solar plexus being important in like martial arts and yoga. Is that related at all?
Absolutely. Many traditions recognize this area as a powerful energy center. In Taoist practice, the yellow court is seen as the cauldron where all this alchemical transformation takes place.
Oh, interesting.
It's where you refine and harmonize the energies of the body.
I'm starting to see how this connects to the idea of cultivating true qi and creating the true elixir that Lu Dongbin talks about, but I'm still a bit fuzzy on how we actually work with this energy center.
Think of it like this. When Lu Dongbin talks about stabilizing your breath in the yellow court,
okay,
he's talking about bringing your awareness to this area and using your breath to gather and cultivate that vital life force energy we talked about earlier.
So we're not just breathing into our lungs, but we're directing our breath and attention to this specific energy center.
That's right.
That sounds pretty subtle. How do we even know if we're doing it right?
It is subtle, but with practice, you can start to feel a difference. By focusing your attention on the yellow court, you can cultivate a sense of groundedness, stability, inner power. It's about connecting with the source of vitality within you.
I can see how that would be so valuable, especially in our like fast-paced world where it's so easy to feel scattered and ungrounded. It sounds almost like an antidote to the chaos of modern life.
That's a great way to put it. These practices offer tools for cultivating inner peace and resilience, a sense of calm amidst the storm.
I'm intrigued, but I have to admit some of this language is still a bit over my head. Dragons, tigers, cauldrons, elixirs. It's a lot to process.
Yes, I know, right?
Any tips for like wrapping our modern minds around these ancient concepts?
It's important to remember that these are metaphors, poetic ways of describing subtle, energetic processes. Don't get too caught up in the literal interpretations. Instead, try to feel the essence of what's being conveyed.
That's helpful. It's like trying to understand a poem. You can't just analyze the words. You have to feel the emotions and imagery behind them.
Exactly. And the more you engage with these teachings, the more the layers of meaning will unfold. It's a process of discovery. And each person's experience will be unique.
So we're back to that idea of direct experience again. It's not just about reading about it. It's about practicing and embodying these principles.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, Lu Dongbin mentions that the yellow court is where the medicine is produced. What exactly is this medicine he's referring to? Is it like some kind of magical elixir?
That's a question that has fascinated Taoist practitioners for centuries. But remember, it's not a literal substance, something you can buy at a store. The medicine is a metaphor for the transformation that takes place within you through dedicated practice.
Oh, okay.
It's the culmination of refining your energy, cultivating virtue, and aligning yourself with the Tao.
So the medicine is the process itself, the journey of self-cultivation.
Precisely. It's a lifelong process, not a destination, and it's a journey that can lead to profound insights, a deep sense of inner peace, and a more fulfilling life.
I love how this, ancient wisdom is still so relevant today. It's like a timeless guide to navigating the challenges of being human. But I'm curious, do you have to be a Taoist to benefit from these teachings?
Not at all. You don't have to become a Taoist monk
Right.
to benefit from these teachings. You can incorporate these principles into your daily life, no matter what your background or beliefs are.
So it's about finding ways to bring these practices into our modern world, adapting them to our own lives.
Exactly. It's about taking the essence of these teachings and integrating them into your own unique path.
We've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about returning the light, the mysterious past, the yellow quartz, and this mysterious medicine that's produced through inner alchemy. My head is definitely spinning.
I know, there's a lot to unpack.
Before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something that really struck me in Lu Dongbin's verses for his student. Recognize your true ancestry within yourself. What are your thoughts on that line?
That line is so powerful, you know. It speaks to the idea that we all carry within us the potential for enlightenment. It's not something we need to seek outside of ourselves.
Right.
Our true nature, our true ancestry, is already present within us. It's just a matter of recognizing it.
I love that. It's like we're all descendants of the divine, carrying this spark of something greater within us.
Exactly. And these practices, this journey of self-cultivation, are all about fanning that spark into a flame.
It's not about becoming someone else, but uncovering and revealing who we truly are. It's about embracing our own inner divinity.
You put it beautifully. That's the heart of what Lu Dongbin is trying to convey.
This has been an incredibly inspiring conversation. I'm feeling a renewed sense of possibility and a deeper understanding of my own potential. What are some of the key takeaways you're leaving with?
I'm reminded of the power of stillness, of turning inward, and cultivating a deep connection with our own inner wisdom. It's a practice that's available to all of us, regardless of our background or beliefs.
That's so true. And I'm struck by the idea that spiritual growth is an ongoing journey. It's not a destination.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the process of self-discovery and transformation, one breath at a time. However, there's one more crucial point I think we should cover. Lu Dongbin highlights the importance of balance in spiritual practice. He even includes a cautionary tale. You're right, balance is so important. It's so easy to get caught up in, the pursuit of spiritual growth and lose sight of the bigger picture. What was that cautionary tale that Lu Dongbin told?
He shared the story of Confucius and his student Yan Hui. They were on Mount Tai, and Yan Hui became so fixated on a white horse in the distance that he strained his eyes and lost his divine light.
Oh, wow.
Which ultimately led to his untimely death.
That's a powerful reminder that even on the spiritual path, we need to approach things with moderation and balance. It's like the saying, the dose makes the poison. Even something beneficial can become harmful in excess.
Exactly. It's a reminder to cultivate a sense of ease and non-attachment, allowing things to unfold naturally rather than forcing them.
That makes me think about how in our modern world, it's so easy to get swept up in achievement and self-improvement. We're constantly bombarded with messages about optimizing ourselves, pushing our limits, striving for more. But what if true growth comes from a place of surrender and acceptance rather than constant striving?
That's a profound insight. Lu Dongbin's teachings seem to suggest that true transformation doesn't come from adding more to our lives, but from letting go of the things that are holding us back. It's about stripping away the layers of conditioning, the attachments, the limiting beliefs that prevent us from recognizing our true nature.
It's almost paradoxical, right? We often think that in order to grow, we need to acquire more knowledge, skills, experiences. But what if the real key is to simplify, to create space within ourselves, and to allow our true essence to emerge naturally?
That really resonates with Lu Dongbin's emphasis on stillness and emptiness. He uses the analogy of clearing a cluttered room to allow light to shine in. Similarly, by cultivating inner stillness and letting go of our attachments, we create space for our true nature to radiate through.
I love that analogy, and it makes me wonder, how often do we try to fill that inner emptiness with external things, possessions, achievements, relationships? But what if true fulfillment comes from connecting with that inner source, that spark of divinity that's always present?
That's a beautiful way to put it. Lu Dongbin seems to be suggesting that true happiness and fulfillment, they come from within, not from external sources. It's about recognizing the inherent wholeness and perfection that already exists within us.
There's a passage in this chapter that I think really speaks to this idea. It says, once awareness dissolves, the true essence is revealed. Clear waters give rise to pearls. Profound mysteries become unfathomable. What do you make of that?
It's a beautifully poetic passage, isn't it? He's saying that when we let go of our attachments to our thoughts, our identities, our perceptions, we open ourselves to a deeper level of awareness. It's like the surface of a lake becoming still, allowing us to see the pearls at the bottom.
That's a stunning image. So it's about cultivating a state of inner clarity and stillness that allows us to perceive reality more clearly.
Exactly. When we're no longer caught up in the chatter of the mind, we can access a deeper wisdom and a profound connection to the universe.
This conversation has been incredibly enriching. I feel like I'm starting to grasp the essence of Lu Dongbin's message. It's not about mastering some complex system or achieving some far-off goal. It's about cultivating a way of being, a way of seeing the world, grounded in stillness, awareness, and compassion.
Beautifully said. And remember, it's a lifelong journey, not a destination. There's no finish line, no point where we could say, okay, I'm enlightened now. It's about the ongoing process of learning, growing, and evolving.
So it's about embracing the journey, the ups and downs, the twists and turns, and trusting that each experience offers an opportunity for growth.
Precisely. And the more we cultivate this mindset, the more joy, peace, and fulfillment we'll experience in our lives.
I love that. It's not about escaping the world, but about bringing these practices into our daily lives and transforming our experiences from the inside out.
Absolutely. That's the true power of these teachings. They're not just ancient wisdom. They're a living, breathing tradition that can guide us towards a more meaningful and fulfilling life. And just like Lu Dongbin encouraged his students to share these teachings, I encourage you to reflect on what resonated with you today and perhaps share it with someone you care about.
This deep dive has been incredibly inspiring. I feel a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper connection to my own spiritual path. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the secret of the golden flower.
It was my pleasure. May you continue to find stillness, embrace your true nature, and walk your path with grace and wisdom.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into ancient wisdom. Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep returning to the light within.